What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 15:28 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Poland. So earlier this morning, a Russian fighter jet, a Russian tactical bomber, a Sukhoi 24, flew into Polish airspace. I repeat, a Russian fighter bomber flew into Polish airspace, not their exclusive economic zone, Poland's territorial airspace, okay? A Russian tactical bomber, a Sukhoi 24, flew into Poland's territorial airspace. It flew to a depth of 6.5 kilometers, so it flew about 2 to 3 miles deep into Polish territorial airspace and stayed there for 1 minute and 12 seconds. This happened in northern Poland along the Baltic Sea in the Bay of Gdańsk, right next to Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad is a small piece of Russia stuck between Poland and Lithuania. So this Russian tactical bomber, a Sukhoi 24, flew from Kaliningrad into the eastern part of the Bay of Gdańsk and into Poland's territorial airspace. This is being reported by the Polish military. What you're looking at here is a tweet or a post on X from the Polish Operational Command of the Polish military. I want to read to you what they wrote here. We would like to inform you that on February 11th, 2025 at 2:09 p.m. in the eastern part of the Bay of Gdańsk, there was a violation of the airspace over the territorial waters of the Republic of Poland by a Sukhoi 24 aircraft of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. The aircraft, which was flying from the Kaliningrad Oblast, violated Polish airspace to a maximum depth of 6.5 kilometers and stayed there for 1 minute and 12 seconds. The flight of the aircraft was observed by the radar systems of the Polish armed forces. So Poland then informed the Russians, hey, we see your jet in our airspace. And then apparently the Russians turned around and left. Okay? That's what the Polish side is saying. I mean, what actually happened, we don't know. It's possible that, Poland is kind of trying to soften up the story so it doesn't look so serious. But this happened in northern Poland, right next to Kaliningrad. I've been warning you guys about this area for a long time. I've actually been to this city once before in Poland when I was very little. It's a very beautiful area, but this is Kaliningrad right here. This is Poland. And this is basically the area where this happened. So this is the Bay of Gdańsk right here. And so this Russian fighter bomber flew from Kaliningrad and towards Gdańsk. And the exact location of the violation, we don't know, but it flew about 6.5 kilometers into Poland for 1 minute and 12 seconds. So that's pretty serious, guys. Very, very serious situation. And this morning and earlier this afternoon, we had a ton of nuclear attack options broadcasted by U.S. nuclear forces. We had as many as 15 EAMs, emergency action messages, broadcasted in about an hour. And then there was some encrypted data on the primary U.S. nuclear war frequency. So that could have been related to this event, which happened this morning, okay? Also, last night, there was another fake attack by Russia on Ukraine. When I say fake attack, Russia launched a bunch of their strategic bombers, and everybody thought, including myself, that this was going to be another massive missile attack on Ukraine. And then they flew all the way to their launch points in the Caspian Sea where they released the missiles, and they didn't actually release the missiles, okay? This is the second time that this has happened, and I'm just wondering if Russia's doing this to test Ukraine's air defenses and test their radars, because anytime those bombers go up in the air, Ukraine flips on their air defenses, flips on their radars, and then Russia can pinpoint the locations of those radars and the air defenses. And so basically what Russia's trying to do here, they're trying to figure out the weak spots, potential areas where there's no radar coverage or no air defense coverage, okay? And they don't have to do it by launching missiles and then realizing that, you know, all their missiles got intercepted. They're basically just pretending like they're going to attack. So Ukraine raises their defenses up, and then Russia can see, okay, there's one radar here, there's one radar in this direction, there's an air defense system here, okay? And they don't have to actually use missiles to test it out. So that's what I think is going on. It could also be a show of force to the Trump administration. Pete Hegseth went to Europe. He's going to be going to Germany and Brussels and Poland. And also J.D. Vance, the vice president, is going to be going to Europe as well. And Keith Kellogg is going to be going to Europe. And I also want to update you guys on my app. So I have a free app available for download in the Google Play Store. So it's only available for Android right now. The Apple version will be coming out in a couple of weeks. But you just go to the Google Play Store and search for NYPrepper, one word, or NYPrepper emergency alerts, and you should see my app. And the purpose of my app is to be able to send you guys notifications when things are going down. Like last night when Russia had all the bombers in the air, I can send out a notification when I post a video or when I go live. Or if I just want to let you guys know of something going on, I can just send a little message and it'll go out to your app. And this way I can keep you guys updated outside of the big social media platforms, because we know that, you know, they like to suppress and they have different technical issues. So if you download the app, you can set an alert threshold that will alert you. You'll get a loud ringtone and vibrations every time I send out a notification, but you can set the minimum level. So if you only want like very serious notifications, you can set that. Or if you want to get notified for every time I send something out, you can do that as well. There's more information in the description, but just search in the Play Store NYPrepper or NYPrepper emergency alerts. It's totally free, and the Apple version is coming out in the next couple of weeks. And Keith Kellogg is actually going to be going to Ukraine on the 3-year anniversary, or right before the 3-year anniversary. I'm very concerned that there could be some kind of massive strike on Ukraine on the 3-year anniversary. We'll have to wait and see, but some very concerning activity on the primary nuclear war frequency in Russia last night and also today. So this is the buzzer, and the reason why this frequency is called the buzzer is that the Russians use this buzzing tone to let people know that the frequency is open and available for use. So it's just this constant buzz every second, and it goes on like that 24/7. And the only time the buzz stops is when they transmit voice messages. But what was interesting last night during this fake attack on Ukraine, they had the buzzer, and then in the background there was a steady stream of encrypted data. And then in addition to that, there were some encrypted voice messages transmitted. So let me just play an audio sample here so you can hear what that sounded like. So you can hear the buzzes, but then in addition to the buzzing tones, you can hear this like steady tone, and then you can hear like this static that comes in and out, and the static that comes in and out is actually the encrypted voice messages, and then that one steady tone is the encrypted data, and then the buzzing is the actual channel marker, the buzzer. Okay, that's what lets the operators know that the channel is open and available for transmission through regular voice, unencrypted voice. So this was last night, very serious situation. The primary nuclear war frequency in Russia transmitting encrypted data and encrypted voice traffic. Russia sending a fighter bomber, a Sukhoi 24, into Polish airspace this morning. Very, very serious. And last night, Ukraine took out another Russian oil refinery. This is in the Saratov region. They took out another massive oil refinery that has a capacity of 7 million tons of oil per year. They took out another one 2 days ago. So in 24 hours, they took out 2 oil refineries in Russia. Okay, the Afipsky and then now the Saratov. Okay, and both of those together account for 15 million tons of oil per year. Okay, they refine 15 million tons. Okay, so Ukraine has probably taken out like 25 to 30% of Russia's oil refining capacity in the last 2 months. So Putin is definitely not happy about that, and I'm just very concerned about what his response is going to be. So far we haven't seen anything serious yet, but I do believe it's coming. And you can see this big searchlight here. Those are the Russians searching for more Ukrainian drones. Okay, you can see them panning left to right, searching for the drones, but it's already too late. You can see that giant fireball there. And right now, this afternoon, we have some interesting activity in Europe. So we have a British sub-hunter in the North Sea patrolling this section of the North Sea between Norway and Scotland. There's a lot of undersea cables here. There's a lot of undersea pipelines there. Also, we have another RQ-4 Global Hawk recon drone patrolling western Bulgaria, looking into Kosovo and Serbia. So this is very, very unusual, and it suggests that potentially Serbia is going to invade Kosovo, or something is about to happen here in the Balkans, okay? And there was also another one right before this one went up into the air, Forte 10. We had Forte 11 right before it. So basically, since yesterday evening, the U.S. has maintained constant reconnaissance and surveillance over Serbia and Kosovo. So something is brewing over here. Okay, very, very concerning. And right now, this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert again. We have a Cobra ball that took off from Offutt Air Base, which is home of U.S. Strategic Command, basically the most important base in the entire U.S. military. And it's now heading down to Arizona. This is a plane used to detect and track the trajectories of ballistic missiles. And also we have 2 B-52 nuclear bombers airborne over Texas. This is very concerning as well. They both took off from Shreveport, Louisiana. And also we see massive reconnaissance in western Mexico. The U.S. has been watching Baja California and the area of Sonora like crazy in the last 24 hours. What you're looking at here is actually live as of right now, the filming time of this video, 15:41 Eastern Time. You can see several aerial refuelers here off the coast of Baja California. In the last 24 hours, there's probably been about 24 aerial refuelers here, okay, off the coast of Baja California. We also had some high priority reconnaissance planes in this area last night as well. So this suggests that potentially the Trump administration is considering striking the cartels in this area, okay? Remember last week they sent that RC-135 Rivet Joint, which is a U.S. recon plane from Offutt Air Base, home of Strategic Command. It went all the way around the Baja Peninsula, and then it went up a little bit into the Gulf of California, and then it turned around and came back and went back to Offutt. Well, the fact that this recon plane took off from strategic command is a very big red flag, because that means it's a strategic level mission. Okay, that means that this recon plane was sending information to the president, and that was last week. And then we also had a couple days ago another high priority strategic recon plane in Texas, and then we've had P-8 Poseidon sub-hunters being used to patrol the Tex-Mex border. Okay, but last night there was more reconnaissance activity in this area, okay, the Baja Peninsula, Sonora. So get prepared, guys. I mean, it looks like the Trump administration is going to be striking the cartels in the near future. Okay, you don't have 20 aerial refuelers somewhere in the air for no reason, okay? And here's all the recon planes that were patrolling the border of Mexico late last night. You can see here 2 Ospreys and then a P-8 Poseidon patrolling the border of California and Arizona with Mexico. And then the most concerning thing is this rivet joint. Another rivet joint from Offutt Air Base Strategic Command went down here to the Arizona-Mexico border. Okay, so this was a strategic level reconnaissance mission by this RC-135 in this area. Okay, and then in addition to that, all those refuelers. So this was last night. Look at all these refuelers, guys. This was last night. We still have all these refuelers airborne. Okay, so you know, this is just totally insane. More refuelers last night here. Okay, and then there was a Customs and Border Protection plane patrolling this area off the coast of Tijuana. And right now we have some British Eurofighter Typhoons that took off from Ramstein and went up towards Denmark. This is very unusual, and it could potentially mean that there was some kind of a airspace violation possibly in Germany or in that area. And President Trump met with the King Abdullah of Jordan today. During their meeting, Trump reaffirmed his plans for Gaza, saying that the U.S. would take Gaza and run it well. And when asked about Israeli annexation of the West Bank, Trump said that's going to work out. And Jordan's president agreed to accept 2,000 Palestinian children with cancer and other medical issues immediately. He said this in his meeting with Trump. And Trump said that if the hostages held by Hamas are not released by noon on Saturday, Trump will support any action by Israel. And Israel is now demanding that all Israeli hostages be released by Saturday at noon, in line with U.S. President Trump's views. This was reported by Israeli Channel 12. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu released a video statement earlier today stating, if Hamas does not return our hostages by Saturday at noon, the ceasefire will end and the IDF will return to intensive fighting until Hamas is completely defeated. And the Security Cabinet in Israel convened at the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem to discuss Israel's response to Hamas's postponement of the release of hostages. Before the meeting, Prime Minister Netanyahu held an assessment with security officials on the matter. So they've already had security meetings. So this is very, very serious. And the IDF Southern Command is approving battle plans for the Gaza Strip in the event that the ceasefire deal with Hamas collapses on Saturday. The 252nd Sinai Division of the IDF's Southern Command is now being deployed to the border with Gaza. And Egypt's president has canceled his trip to the U.S. until further notice because of Trump's statements about Gaza. And I want to just play some footage here of Trump from earlier today with King Abdullah. Listen to what he has to say.
So these people are, so I don't want to do 2 and then we do another 2 in another week and then we do 4 in 3 weeks. No. They either have them out by Saturday at 12 o'clock or all bets are off.
Wow, all bets are off. So strong words there from Trump, and here we have him talking about Gaza. Take a listen.
Very good progress.
Mr. President, you've said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to get it going eventually, where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East, and you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East.
Wow, strong words there from Trump, saying that the U.S. will take over Gaza. They're going to take it. They're not going to buy it. They're going to take it. So huge news, guys. Absolutely huge. And here we have some video footage coming out of Egypt. This is along the border with Israel. So Egypt is now massing their forces along the border of Israel near Gaza. Look at all these tanks, guys. Hundreds and hundreds of tanks piled up along the border of Israel. This is very, very concerning. And Marco Rubio said today that the war in Ukraine will be on the top of everyone's minds at the Munich Security Conference later this week. And Pete Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, will skip the Munich Security Conference in exchange for a trip to Poland to meet with troops there, as well as a meeting with Eurocom and AFRICOM leaders. Hegseth said, "We're not going to the Munich Security Conference," at a town hall meeting last Friday at the Pentagon. "We're instead going to Poland to see the troops out there, and we're going to Germany to see EUCOM and AFRICOM. I would much rather talk to troops than go to cocktail parties. That's my job." So strong words there from Pete Hegseth. It looks like Vance and Rubio are going to be going to the Munich Security Conference instead of Hegseth, which, makes sense. Hegseth is a defense secretary. He's not a diplomat. So that's kind of out of his wheelhouse anyway. So huge news, guys. The first VIPs of the Trump administration going to Europe this week. Hegseth arrived in Europe yesterday. Okay. So he's already there, and he's going to be going right to the front line in Poland, okay, NATO's front line, because, that's literally right next to Belarus and Ukraine and Russia. So Poland is a very critical country in this entire region and in the war in Ukraine. And Vance and Rubio are going to be going, I believe, later this week to the Munich Security Conference. And the U.S. plans to review the deployment of its troops around the world, but it is not going to be sending them to Ukraine. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said during a press conference today. And President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, successfully secured the release of an American school teacher, Mark Fogel, from Russian detention. Witkoff has now departed Russian airspace with Fogel after striking a deal with Moscow. Very, very good news there. And the EU will react against unlawful U.S. tariffs, says the European Commission. The EU will react to protect its interest against unlawful and economically counterproductive tariffs on aluminum and steel if these are confirmed, the Commission said in a statement on Monday. The EU sees no justification for the imposition of tariffs on its exports. "We will react to protect the interests of European businesses, workers, and consumers from unjustified measures," the statement read. "The imposition of tariffs would be unlawful and economically counterproductive, especially given the deeply integrated production chains the U.S. and the EU established through transatlantic trade and investment." So in case you guys are not aware, Trump said he's going to start imposing 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel from any country in the world, sending them here to the U.S. And the Chinese president and the Russian president will exchange visits for the World War II Victory Day. This is going to be the 80th anniversary of the World War II Victory Day celebration in Russia. So huge news there. And North Korean state media stated that a U.S. nuclear-armed submarine arrived at a South Korean port, and it is escalating tensions in the region. And Hong Kong is going to file a complaint on recent U.S. tariffs imposed on the city to the World Trade Organization, claiming the U.S. has completely ignored the city's status as a separate customs territory. And the FBI released thousands of undisclosed records connected to JFK's assassination. And we currently have 3 U.S. Navy ships off the coast of Mexico. And Trump pardoned Rod Blagojevich last night. And he also signed an executive order eliminating paper straws. Okay. And here we have a tweet from... And this morning, Trump posted this on his Truth Social account, saying he's sending the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, to Ukraine to meet with Zelensky. So very interesting. And here we have Mark Fogel. This was the American teacher who was held in Russian jail for the last few years, and the Trump administration was able to get him out. And earlier this morning, we had a British sub-hunter patrolling this area in northern Scotland. This is very unusual. There must have been some kind of Russian sub in this area. And we also had a NATO AWACS plane flying in the Baltics earlier this morning and late last night. And then here we have a U.S. recon plane that flew all the way up to the Kola Peninsula, which is where Russia has their northern fleet base. This is where Russia keeps 2/3 of their nuclear-armed submarines, right here in Murmansk. So this rivet joint flew all the way up here into this area to keep an eye on the Russian nuclear-armed subs. At the same time, there was also a Russian doomsday plane that went to Siberia last night as well. We also had some reconnaissance in the Taiwan area. We had a sub-hunter and a rivet joint just south of the Taiwan Strait. Very, very interesting. And then this was during the fake missile attack on Ukraine last night. Poland scrambled an AWACS plane, NATO scrambled an AWACS plane, and then also Poland put their fighter jets in the air and turned on their air defenses. And there were also doomsday planes airborne late last night. This was the second doomsday plane that was airborne yesterday. Okay, this was like late at night, right around the time when Russia was sending bombers into the air. So I think this was related to that, and it was flying with its tracker turned off for some time. And then during the Russian fake missile attack on Ukraine, we had this doomsday plane that had its tracker turned on, but it was just sitting on the runway here, probably on standby in the event they had to scramble somebody into the air. And then we also had more reconnaissance in the Middle East. We had 2 RQ-4 Global Hawks, one patrolling the coast of Iran, one patrolling the Eastern Mediterranean here. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with a live update or another video update. This is very serious, guys. Russia flew a fighter jet into Polish airspace, okay? That is absolutely insane. But I'm going to be monitoring everything going on, and I will be back potentially later with another update, or I will go live. So until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.